Welcome back. What's up, guys? Today is leg day. I'm going to take you through my warm-up all the way through my main sets and show you exactly how I get it all done. Now, I don't normally wear anything on my head, but today I am cold. I want to break a good sweat, so I'm going to keep the heat in where it typically gets out. It's NFL playoff weekend. I'm a big fan, so I'm going to kill two birds with one stone. I've got the game running in the background, so I don't miss out on any of the action. In case you're wondering, I've got BCAAs with glutamine from Transparent Labs in my water bottle and 24 ounces of water, so I'll be sipping that throughout the workout. All right, let's get started with the warm-ups. I typically like to use bands and step-ups for my warm-up these days. I'm going to show you the lateral band steps that I take, forward band steps, backward band steps, and then when I get onto the step, I'm going to show you a sequence that I like to use to get my knees and all of my muscles warmed up properly. All right, here's my little black band. This is going to go around my ankles so that I can get my hips firing, get all the muscles of my glutes firing, and make for a better lift when I hit the heavy stuff. All I'm going to do is take this black band, just like you put on a pair of underwear, which for me hopefully is not too difficult today. I'm going to get it right around my ankles. So if you take a look, right around my ankles, I typically like to start with an 80s dance, stay in the box, so it's just a tap and a squeeze. And when I'm doing this warm-up, I'm concentrating on really grounding my feet and squeezing into the floor with my legs. So you can see from the side, I'm working my abductors on the outside. I'm also getting my medial glutes to fire. So I don't necessarily have a specific number. I use usually somewhere around 20 to 30 reps. And once I get done with those side steps, I like to walk forward. It's the same kind of stay in the box type of motion. I'm tapping in, tapping out, and then I like to go backwards. Again, same cadence, just gently stepping in, tap, step out, tap, step in, tap, step out. And I'll do this until I get a really, really solid burn in my hips, which I'm starting to get. And then I'll finish typically with about 10 side to side, still squeezing, keeping my abs nice and tight. I'm going to go about 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So I've got my hips burning. My legs feel more grounded. I'm going to keep the band on one leg. That way, when I go back to it the next time, I don't have to take it and put it on again. All right, now I'm going to get to my step-ups. I have a sequence that I've started to use recently where I take my outside leg and I hit 5 reps to the back, and then I take that outside leg, put it to the front, and I hit 5 reps to the front. I do that 2 times for a total of 20 reps on each leg, so let me show you what I mean. So if you want to know how high the risers are, from the bottom to top is somewhere around 9 to 10 inches. Now what I like to do here is to get my leg right up on the platform, on the riser. I take all of my weight, hinge forward at the waist so that I've got tension in the hamstrings, quads, and glutes. I get my hands right in prayer position in front of me. The back leg stiffens. So now I've got the majority of my weight on my posted leg, and I gently press up. So that leg stays stiff on the outside behind, like I said before. That's 2. I am going to get 5 reps, 3, and I'm really concentrating 4 on loading the posted leg, and 5. Now I take this outside leg, bring it to the front. Same exact position, tap my heel. That's 1 and 2, good. 3, and I'm really loading my quad now. 4 and 5. Without taking tension off of this posted leg, I go straight back, barely tapping the floor. 1, barely tapping. 2, like there are hot coals on the floor. 3, and I don't want to burn my foot. 4, really squeezing tight. And the last one, barely touching. 5, I go straight to the front. So I'm burning pretty good now. That is 1. 2, real tight burn. 3, but I'm really warming up the knees. 4 and 5. Now I'm going to do the same exact thing with the other leg. We'll go through. We want to make sure that we're even on both sides. Don't just do one, do both. And then you can alternate which one you start first depending on which leg is typically stronger. Now, this is the leg that I have a lot of trouble with my knee, and one of the reasons that I do all of these prehab exercises is to make sure that when I get to my regular lifts, like my squat and my deadlifts, that I don't have a lot of pain in that knee. I typically always will have pain. It's sharp stabbing, knife pain, but this really helps me to get through it better. So on this side, I don't have a lot of drive at the bottom, and it's something that I have to work on. So I'm gonna hinge at the hips again, load all of the weight into hamstrings, glutes, and quads, stiffen the back leg, hands in prayer, and slowly raise up. Stiff to the back, that's 2, 3. So I'm really trying to drive my foot into 4, the risers. And 5, this is where I start to have trouble. I get that leg in front, I'm a little off balance, I'm gonna tap and flex. And again, I'm trying to get 5 reps here, that's number 2. Gripping the riser with my toes and my heel. 4, so that I get a really solid base, a little wobbly. Number 5, leg back, still a ton of tension on this leg, barely touching. 1. Now for me, 2, this is an easier position than having the outside foot forward. 3, because it allows me to engage my hamstrings and glutes more. 4, which takes tension off of the knee. 5, gonna go straight to the front again. There's my 1. Ton of tension. 2, on the posted leg. There's number 3, 4, and 5. Now I typically run through about 3 rounds of that. So 3 rounds of the lateral steps, forward steps, rear steps, 3 rounds of the step-ups using the same sequence that I just showed you. There is one more exercise that I do that is specific to the squat that helps me open up my hips and get everything ready to go. So I like to warm up by going through full range of motion with a plate. So I've got a 25-pound plate. I'm gonna go with the position where my feet are slightly pointed out. Knees are gonna be fanned out a tiny bit if you look at it from the side. I'm gonna slowly, with my arms straight, slowly reach out in front, and I wanna try to get into the same position, opening up my hips as I do when I squat. So I'm gonna take 10 reps here, that's number 2. I really feel that big stretch in my hips. 3, I'm trying to stretch the floor out left and right with my feet. That's number 5. Again, I'm gonna get 10 reps here. I wanna really ground my feet to the floor. Make sure that I'm bracing my abdominals when I'm down, so that should be about number 7. I'm gonna get 3 more reps. 1, 2 more reps. 2, starting to warm up a little bit. And number 3. Now I'll put that plate down sometimes, sit in this position, shift a little bit side to side, open everything up, straighten out my hands, grip the floor, and then slowly stand and squeeze. So I'll do the same with that. 3 rounds, 10 repetitions, and then I'm about ready to get into my regular barbell squats. Now when I do my squats, especially early on in my warm-up sets, I still like to use the band. So I keep it around the same position that I had when I did my warm-up, and that helps me to make sure that I am squeezing my glutes. So I'm fanning my knees out against the resistance of the band as I lower my weight. And I'm gonna start out with 135 pounds. I'm gonna shoot for 10 reps, and then we'll see how I progress from there. Typically, I'll go to 185 and then to 225 for my final sets. So I'm gonna get my band back on, and I'm gonna have it positioned right above my ankles. Again, the idea with the band is as I get into squat position, I'm now forced to use my abductor, so the outside part of my thighs. I'm forced into that position, so I wanna push against the band as I come down with the weight. So let's take a look at my first warm-up set with 135 pounds. So I make sure that I'm nice and grounded when I step off the rack. Very careful to get into position. I've got my toes slightly pointed out. I want my chest nice and high. I'm gonna take a deep breath in. I wanna pause for a second, and then I'm gonna squeeze up. So I typically like to get a little bit of a pause as I'm squatting. That's number 3. I'll typically do that for about the first 5 reps or so. So that's number 5. pulling the shoulder blades back. 6, 7, I'm going to get into a more fluid motion now. 8, making sure not to butt wink. 9, fanning out against the band. And 10. Now, I don't know if you could tell or you could hear, but my right knee makes pretty horrific crunching noises. Typically, crunching noises aren't a cause for concern if it's not painful when it happens. Now, for me, it's extremely painful when it happens. I've got trochlear tears, loose articular bodies. I'm bone on the lateral supporting condyle of my femur on the outside, so it's very painful. That's why it's important to strengthen up everything around the knees. If I were to just go into the squat position without really focusing on engaging my glutes, and I'm just dumping into my knees, it becomes very, very painful. So with my sets today, I'm going to typically rest around 2 minutes in between each set. And what I like to do sometimes in between is stretch out my calves, because calves, your Achilles specifically, becomes a very important factor in how deep you can go. If your Achilles, your calf, completely tight or tight at all, it makes it very difficult once you come down in the squat. If my Achilles doesn't budge, I can't get down into this nice deep position. I'll be stuck somewhere up here, and I'm sure you've seen guys squat like this, and they can't get any lower. Most likely that's because of the Achilles. So I take my slant board, and I stretch out my calves in between each set as needed. All right, 2 minutes is up. I'm going to put 25 more pounds on the bar on each side, so that'll be 185 pounds. Goal is 8 to 10 reps. Let's see how it goes. Time to strap up. And I'll use this until I don't think I need it anymore, and I can manually fan my knees out without having to rely on the band. Now, most of you know I like to use a heart rate sensor just to get an idea. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Right now, my heart rate is at 131, and that's after 2 minutes of rest in between the first set and my second set. Again, if you're going to walk out of the half rack like I am, just be careful and make sure that you're comfortable doing it. A lot of crunching, but that's just the way it goes. Got to really concentrate more on fanning out. I'm going to go for 3 because I can feel everything. That's my big goal. To feel, not just to count reps. Whew. All right. Unstrap. Otherwise, your hips are going to be on more fire than they are right now. But using the band really helps you to engage your hips, which then in turn makes everything else more difficult and engaged properly. All right, so I'm going to stretch out my Achilles. All I'm doing is gently leaning forward, 2 or 3 seconds, gently leaning forward. Now, when I lean forward on each leg, you'll see the opposite heel come up with a very relaxed leg. So I want to do that periodically. I don't want both of my legs straight because I don't get as much stretch in each leg. So I'll do that a couple of times. Now, I'll do it with straight legs, just like this, and I'll also do it with a bent knee. So I'll bend that knee and then lean forward. That's going to stretch out my soleus, and that's going to help me when I'm down in the lower portion of the squat. So I'm going to bend my left leg, my left knee, lean forward at the waist, trying to keep my heel as flat as possible. I'm going to do it one more time. Then I'm going to load 2 1/4 up on the bar and start my main sets. Some of you like to use bumper plates, some of you like to use iron plates. I've got competition bumpers and I've got iron plates on this, so best of both worlds. Let's go, 225. Knee is still giving me some trouble, so I am going to continue with the band. Just think of it as a safety mechanism. All right, here we go. Really concentrating on building muscle. Oh, 8 reps will do. Woo! All right. When you practice good form, you should be out of breath. Every rep I take, I'm concentrating on the contraction, not just getting reps. I see people doing squats and they're just kind of moving through it, flowing through it, not really contracting. So when I do a squat, I do a damn squat. I don't mess around with thinking about reps unless I have a specific range that I need to hit. And do I really need to hit anything anymore? Probably not. So most of it is going on feel. I could have got 10, 8 seemed smart, and I'm going to try it again, and the next time, I'm going to try it without the band. Heart rate, 155. Ooh, that got me out of breath. And yeah, I'm waddling like a penguin because I still have the band around both legs. Now, I also like to stretch out my hip flexors in between sets as well. If your hip flexors are tight, and your hip flexors go from your femur, crisscross all the way into your lower back. So if you've got lower back issues, you may have tight hip flexors. The psoas is the main hip flexor, and that's probably the one that you've heard the most. So in between sets, I like to sometimes take a step back, arm up, stretch out the hip flexor here. Back to center, so I'll probably do anywhere between 4 and 5 of these. Sorry, 4 and 6. This is number 3. Just to open up those hip flexors, because when you squat, you go further and further into hip flexion. So what do you have to do to counter the hip flexion? You've got to do hip extension, which is exactly what I'm doing, stretching out the hip flexors. You can also tell that I'm changing angles for those of you that get bored easily, switching from the left side to the right side so you can see it at all angles. All right, no need for me to go up in weight. I'm going to try the 2 1/4 without the band. My goal is 3 to 4 main sets of 8 to 10 reps at this weight. The other key is to make sure that your core, your abs, are braced when you do the exercise, because I don't use a belt, and I get asked a lot if I use a belt. I create my own pressure with my core. Two more. Ooh, that did the trick. Yeah. So the more you contract, the harder it gets to do more repetitions as you go along. So if you're someone like me who contracts extra hard every rep, you may not get as many reps as someone that moves quickly without necessarily intent through the exercises. So intent is the operative word. I'm thinking about how I want my legs to look. I'm thinking about how I want my body to look. And then I'm taking the actions to make that happen. Man, I'm out of breath. Like I said, hard contractors get out of breath. 160. You can tell I'm breathing hard. So if you're looking for pure power gains, strength gains, take a little bit more time in between your sets. If you're looking for a combination of the two, getting lean, keeping your metabolism high, building lean tissue, take a slightly shorter rest. I alternate between slightly longer rests and slightly shorter rests, but I know for sure it is time to go. Let's go. Oh, man. Woo. Yeah. That effing not only burns where it's supposed to, but boy, I feel that everywhere. Inner thighs, outer thighs, hams, glutes, quads, and right here. Sorry, right here in my heart. My lungs, ooh, they're beating for sure. So sometimes, rather than stand still, I like to move around. It helps with the flow of the workout. I've got one more brutal set to get, and then on to deadlifts. Last set, God willing. Whew. Shit, I am feeling excessive. Now, I just had to take a second. I'm feeling excessive tightness in my adductor. So I'm going to stretch off to the side, see if I can get this thing to loosen up. Hopefully, it's more of a cramp than it is a strain. And we'll find out as soon as I get the bar back on my shoulders. All right. Whew. Oh boy, mission accomplished with the squats. And I gotta be honest, once there's a seed of doubt in your brain, it can spread like a cancer. I wasn't sure if I was gonna knock that last set out. Thankfully, you've gotta be mentally strong and hang in there to get it knocked out. Those last 3 reps were, you know what, starts with a B. Whew. All right, on to some deadlifts. Let's see how it goes. Now's the time to sip. Sometimes that cramping that I experienced earlier can come from dehydration, so make sure you get your fluids in. All right. I'm gonna fuel up. I'm gonna put some Intra by Transparent Labs in my bottle since I am in the middle of my workout to keep everything going, make sure I keep my energy levels high. Damn, I am so tired and disoriented that I tried to put my supplement cap back on my blender bottle and my blender bottle cap back on my supplement jar. So hopefully the rest of this doesn't go like that. Call them senior moments. All right, since my legs are already warm, I am going to start with 225, probably 8 to 10. We'll see how it goes. All right, perfect. Now, again, a lot of people ask, do you wear a belt? No belt. No belt. Just this. So I'm going to take 2 minutes rest in between, and I'm going to move up by either 50 pounds or 90 pounds. Now, as far as straps, I don't use straps unless I get to a weight that I cannot grip with a double overhand grip, which is usually at 315 pounds. So as soon as I get to 315, these are going on. Feeling good, so I'm going to throw 315 on now and bypass 275. I will collar these up so they're not flying around everywhere. Now, one of the cool things about working out with no sound, no music, nobody to talk to, is that I actually get to talk to you guys while I'm working out. And that is actually pretty cool. So I'm coming up on my 2 minutes. I gotta hydrate because I can already feel the dehydration starting. All right, let's strap up. All right, goal here is going to be 8 to 10 reps. It all depends if I think that I am going to be moving up in weight or not. So we'll see how these feel. If I get to 8, and I think this is my limit for today, I'll probably go to 10 and stick with this weight. So I'm going to roll it forward just a tiny bit, pull it back, ground my feet, engage my lats, chest high, and drive up. Whew. That actually felt a little heavy. So when cognitively lifting or intuitively lifting, I want to really get in touch with how I think that my body is feeling with the weight on a particular day. So everything's relative. Today, 315 felt very heavy. Last week, it felt very light. So you have to deal with what's happening right in front of you rather than thinking about, well, I did it last week, I should be able to do it again. The human body's inconsistent, so you never know exactly what you're going to get. I'm going to try another set of 8 with this weight, and then I'll make a determination if I'm going to go up. So I want you to understand what's going through my mind while I'm lifting. I'm constantly thinking ahead as to what the rest of the workout is going to look like. So I've got about a minute to go. Good sweat. Whew. Time to take in some more fluids. I have to say, my legs, taxed out. So when I do this at the end of the week, I've already had a leg session on Tuesday, so my legs are still a little bit fatigued. When you get to be 53, you don't recover the same way you did when you were 25. So keep that in mind. If you're an older person watching this, like me, 50 and above, think about how your recovery is going. And like I said, don't think about what you did last week. Think about what you're doing today. Whew. All right. Heart rate's at 140. Constantly thinking about what I want my body to look like and why I'm doing this. Because most of the time, people don't work what they can't see. You don't want to be that guy or that girl on the beach that walks ahead and everybody goes, what the bleep happened to their backside? Looks like you took an egg and threw it at a wall and it ran down. And that is why I am thinking about hamstrings and glutes. Do you want to look good in jeans, or do you want that flat ass? And not everybody is genetically gifted in that area. However, you can work and battle your genetics. Don't think that you can't. So if you got a flat ass, work hard to not have a flat ass. Do the things that are challenging, not the easy things, not on your hands and knees doing little flutter kicks with your legs. Do things that stimulate your glutes, like deadlifts. Now, deadlifts are not for everyone. I'm 53 years old and I'm still able to do them. I didn't start doing deadlifts until after my 40th birthday, when 2 of my discs in my lower spine herniated while I was cycling. And I spent years rehabbing and getting my lower back strong enough to do what I'm doing here. So don't shy away from things. Be smart about it. Talk to your doctor. Just because I like to always challenge myself, even when everyone else says take a break. Why do you work so hard? Why do you do it? Well, because it helps me, mentally and physically. So I'm throwing on 25 more pounds on each side. This will be 365. My goal here is going to be anywhere between 5 and 8 reps. Oh boy. Oh, it's going to be an interesting evening. Get home, the kids will be waiting for me, dogs will be waiting for me, wife may or may not be waiting for me. We'll find out. Hopefully I can still walk when I get home. Oh boy. All right. 160 beats a minute, so I'm still high, which is why you hear me breathing into my microphone. See, even when you're working out, you still get work calls, and I typically tell people don't respond to your work calls, set time aside for you. Unfortunately, my life is 24/7 work, so gotta fix this. Oh, let's see if I don't pull my back out now that I spent 4 minutes waiting to go. All right, we will find out. Ooh, that's heavy. Wow. Yep, that was about right. Looks like it'll be one more set of 6 for 365, and then I'm going to take it off and rep the night out of it. Love finishing up a series like this with a lot of reps. Oh man. Let's get this last set done. Wow, okay. 5 was all I had in me. Sometimes that's all there is in the cards that you're dealt on a given day. So I got to finish this one off with a nice rep set. Make sure my lower back's in one piece instead of 5. And then my grand finale, my plyometric finisher. This is going to be fun. Whew. Question is, do I have enough strength to get 10 of these? We'll find out. Ooh, it's going to be brutal. Brutal. 10 reps, 10 reps, 10 reps, 10 reps. Well, good thing that I really didn't pay a lot of attention to that football game, because it looks like it is very low scoring in the third quarter. Hopefully tonight's game is a bit better. My legs, my lower back might not want to work anymore. Whew. Man. Just so you can see what muscles are working, at least in the upper body, I'm going to put this microphone up here and we will go shirtless for the last set, which, as most of you know, I hate doing. But I'm going to do it anyway for the good of humanity. What do you think? If you were betting people, would you bet I'm going to get 10 or you bet I'm not going to get 10? I always think people are going to bet against me, and that helps me get it. All right. Let's go. Yeah. Without having to check my monitor, I can tell you that my heart rate is through the effing roof. Wow. Oh. Well, at least my head's warm. Wow. Dying a slow death. I'm just showing you what it takes to get to the level that I've been at for quite some time. Always been able to put in this type of work, and it's more mental than physical. Just an average guy that overachieves, and I've said it before. An average guy who overachieves and have always overachieved. So this means that anyone can do it if they put their mind to it. You want a good physique? Put your mind to it. It involves a lot of work. It involves nutrition. It involves lifestyle. It involves mental strength and awareness. So if you want it, ask me some questions and I'll help you out. The last exercise, the jump lunge, my goal is to finish with 50 jump lunges. Let's get to it so we can get home, have some dinner, and watch some more football. Ooh, this is gonna hurt big time. Let's go. That's 10. $20. $30. Let's go. $40. 10. Legs wobbly. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and wow. Oh yeah. You gotta see this. Remember, 53 years old, 174. Probably higher. So according to my theoretical heart rate max, I've far exceeded. So I must be dead right now. If you enjoyed this workout as much as you know that I did, please like and subscribe. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. I'll see you next time. Let's go.